Welcome to the High Performance Man podcast. I'm your host, John Fayocavitz. On this show, I interview successful men who have built impressive careers and businesses, founders, CEOs, senior leaders, and professionals who have operated at a high level for years. We talk about what actually made them successful. So the goal is simple, to learn directly from men who have done it, so we can apply those insights into our own careers, businesses, and lives, and continue raising our own standard of performance. This show is sponsored by the Prime Performance Method. The Prime Performance Method is designed specifically for high-performing men who have achieved success in their careers but feel like their body and energy have taken a hit along the way. We help busy professional men regain strength, lose weight, gain energy, and feel younger without the long workouts, extreme dieting, and disrupting their demanding schedule. If you are a high-performing man who wants to feel as strong and energized as you are successful, message me, John Fayocavitz, on LinkedIn. On today's show, we have Brian Murdock, who is the founder of All World Communications Group, where he provides voice over IP, networking, surveillance, and access control solutions. Brian, thank you so much for joining. We're looking forward to having you.
Thank you so much for having me.
You're so welcome. Brian, my first question is, what's the most important lesson you've learned so far that's helped you become successful in your business?
What is the most important for me at this point in my journey has been that entrepreneurship is a spiritual game.
Yeah, right.
In life, where we're all playing the game of life, we're here to experience, but this one I truly believe is a spiritual game. And so I have learned to lean into my faith. And I don't profess to be perfect in any way or to push anyone anyway, but my faith is based around the Bible and my prayer with God and my walk with God and understanding that will lead me in the right direction.
And that's what's been driving you so far to get successful in your business.
Yes, sir. At a younger age, and I don't know, I don't want to.
That's what I was just going to ask. When did that transition start? How many years have you had your business, Brian?
We have been in business now for 14 years. And I've been doing some versions of this for right around 19 years. And when I was in college, I was in sales, and we did. It's funny, people, if they remember Circuit City, that's where I started.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, at Circuit City and the Circuit City training program when I left Purdue when I was in Chicago.
Wow. So
Yes,
I interrupted you a little bit. When was the transition? When did you start the transition?
Yeah, my transition was actually when my company took a downturn. So we were chugging along, doing a couple $1 million a year. And then we hit a inflection point where we did a double jump. So we had to hire really quickly. We're on too many projects, did not have the systems in place. And at that time, my faith walk was very weak, I would say. But outside of my faith walk, my fitness walk was very weak. And with that, my mental walk was very weak.
They're connected.
What I've learned is that biblically it says that our mind, body, and spirit, that it is all one.
Yep.
And so I thought that I could outwork everything. I'm from the Midwest, and people know Indiana people. That's what we do. We work. We wake up in the morning and we go to work. And so that's what I thought that I could do. But you can't outwork broken systems. You can't outwork a broken down body. You can't outwork the fact that you are incongruent with what you are preaching to the people around you, because you are not embodying that. And that is where I was. And so as the business had to reset is when I found my relationship with God again. We went to church, but going to church and actually having a relationship with God, I believe, are
two
very
different things. Yeah. I'm right with you because I'm also in the faith. I mean, it's everything to me. I mean,
Yes, sir.
it's what drives me. Okay, what gets me up in the morning to be successful. Okay, joyful
Yes,
for the
sir.
day. Joyful for the day.
Because it's a blessing that you woke up because you
Yeah,
did not control it.
yes, it is. Absolutely.
Yes,
Brian,
sir.
what do you think hinders a lot of men today from reaching their full potential?
Um, Honestly, I can only speak to my journey and what
Yep.
I've seen.
Mm-hmm.
And what I have seen is distractions,
I. Yep.
attention, and shiny objects, so which is also part of the distraction.
Yep.
Um, we got to a space where, again, I believe that I'm connected pretty strongly with God, where I had visions of where the company was going. And then I got another vision of, oh, well, we can do this thing as well. We can add this on. And what that did was take me down a side path, a side quest, is what one of my friends would call it, a side quest away from the main vision of where we were going, um, and completely derailed us. And then you got to get back on path. And you start going, and then you get another one. And these are great opportunities. Again, I go back to my mother passed, but she was very instrumental in kind of placing faith into myself and my brothers and sisters and in our hearts. Um, but one of the things it says is you can have anything, but you can't have everything. And so with that, I believe that if we can hold that vision in our hearts, not in our minds, but in our hearts, and know that it's real and you stick to that, then you can bring it into reality. But what
Right.
happens is you start
Yep.
down that path and then you
Well,
stop.
yes. Well, yeah, you hit that right on the head because I mean, and I truly believe social media is the biggest problem that we have with distractions. Because
Yes, sir.
when people go on there and they look at something and you know what you want to do, but all of a sudden you get this other influencer or this other person. Oh no, I can do it better. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And then you drift from where you wanted to be to go to his, and then it just like you just said, it takes your business the wrong way.
Yes. Yeah. And I think you used the right word is drift.
Yep.
I was blessed to be given um, Napoleon Hill's book, Outwitting the Devil. And
Yep.
one of the things that he talks about is to fight drifting, because that is part of what when you read the book
Right.
is the enemy. The enemy wants to get your mind as a distraction and to drift you away from what your purpose is on this planet.
Absolutely. Totally agree. All right. Next question. For most men on the road to business or professional success, other areas of their life get sacrificed. What's been one of the areas of your life that has suffered, if you had, but where would you like to be successful now, too?
So I can again speak to this profoundly. Is when I was planting seeds and working, um, I sacrificed the time with my wife. I sacrificed the time with my children at a very young age, because in my mind I was like, this is the purpose for this, because we're building something for their future. Um, what I've come to believe is that all of those things uh, matter more so than the business, because if you have a solid foundation with the family, with your significant other, and in with your children, where you can set the foundation and the framework of how that family structure should move,
Right.
um, it gives you support when things, because things are supposed to, I believe, things are supposed to
Right.
fall apart. And so as those things fall apart, you have a structure to come back to at home, uh, to then ground yourself, be steady, and then be able to go back out into the world. But if you haven't set that foundation at home, then what happens is it feels like you're fighting battles on all fronts.
Right. Now, I'm sure, did you see it transition or change during the course of your business, your family life and sacrifice for that?
Yep, yep, yep. And with that, as I said, when I hit the reset, um, I saw that I intentionally started to spend more time at home with the kids, being able to coach and train and be around and show them uh, how to be a man, how to show up,
Right.
the things that I was taught, but I was taught in what I say the old school ways, that were a little bit harsher than the way that I see, um, but I still believe that they have value
Right.
of teaching people how to show up and how
Now,
to.
you mentioned also that did your health take a sacrifice too?
My health took a huge sacrifice. At one point, I was when I don't know how big I was prior to me weighing myself, but when I got to the point where I needed to weigh myself and say, "Hey, did I need a change?" I was at 385 pounds.
Yo,
Yeah. So yes, my health took a big problem.
wow,
Yeah.
man. So what was there the aha moment that said that things have got to change?
Yeah, the aha moment was my wife was pregnant with our daughter, and I just kept processing that what does it matter how much money you have if tomorrow you just keel over and die of a heart attack? And so from that point is like, okay, how do I lose weight? What do I do? Um, and that's again, it's 2020 is when I like had an epiphany, call it. Um, and then I didn't know really what to do. I just knew that I needed to make changes. And 2021 is when I really started making those changes. And so I went from 385 to, I didn't weigh myself today, but I'm probably somewhere around 232.
Wow, congratulations, man. I'm
Yeah, thank
telling
you.
you, 'cause, that's something because it's in my field, but it takes a lot of discipline to do that.
Yeah,
Okay. It really
yes, sir.
does. I mean, motivation can only take you so far, but it's the discipline and the work ethic, okay, that takes you the rest of the way.
Yeah, yeah. I appreciate it and I agree. I think the other thing that is really deciding who it is that you want to be.
Right.
Um, and so that's what I put in my mind is who is the person that you are? Who is it that you're going to show up as? And are you going to show up as this fat guy who doesn't care about your physical body? And because you don't care about your physical body, then you don't care about your internal state. And
Right.
so all of those things kind of go hand in hand in my mind now.
And also because it works hand is the mental state too, then.
Yes, sir.
I mean, when you're being successful at doing what you did, your mind just gets so much clearer and better.
It did, because
And
at that point, again, when I got the vision of what God gave me
yeah,
of All World Communications Group being, it was super clear. I had one of my guys that worked for me. I told him, I know that it's going to happen because the vision was as real as you are standing in front of me.
wow.
And so from that, it was like, okay, so then how do I get there? And at one point, I had hired a woman who was the youngest female CEO of a Fortune 500 company. Because in my brain, I was like, well, I don't know what running a Fortune 500 company looks like. So I need to bring her on. But we weren't at that point. So it's almost like bringing in Fred Smith to run your daughter's lemonade stand.
Right.
It, it wasn't a fit because we didn't have, first off, we didn't have the right people. Second off, I wasn't the right person to lead. And those are the things that I have learned over the years is throughout this game is you have to grow expansion in your mental capacity, in your spiritual capacity, and in your physical capacity, what you can truly take on, and your nervous system. You got
Yes.
to get to a point where you actually feel like you deserve to have whatever abundance and blessings that God has for you.
Right. What was your first, what was your first step that you took? Just being curious. When
Um,
was it the habits that you had to change, you think, or was it what do you think your
well,
first step was?
I don't think I know what it was. The first steps were meditation. Um, it was
Okay,
meditation.
which leads me to my next question is where do you find yourself at peace?
Yeah, there you go. That's what you find yourself at peace with yourself. Um, and those were the things that I found is that I was I discovered that I was constantly looking for permission, uh, permission to be the version of Brian that God had already spoken into my body. But I was still living at Brian, who was a 6-year-old, Brian, who was 12-year-old, Brian, who was 16-year-old. And these versions of Brian are kids who are getting teased, is a kid who's lonely, doesn't know who he is, a kid who now is trying to impress everyone because we're poor and don't have anything. So if you're funny and make people like you, so now that it's not congruent with the person who knows exactly who he is, the person who knows exactly how you're going to show up and having an understanding of guess what?
Yeah,
Everyone on this planet is not going to like you,
yeah,
and that's okay.
that's
So
awesome.
that's what it was.
So after the meditation, what physically did you change?
I started walking.
That's perfect.
Yep, I started walking, and I started walking at the beginning. I wasn't even measuring it at that time. I would just walk. I found I won't say I found it because it found me. Andy Frisella's 75 hard. Um, so I did 75 hard, which helped because what I found also is that I had a discipline problem. Um, I knew how to work, but that discipline problem really comes down. That's what people don't understand is your nervous system.
Yep.
Because the closer you get to that change happening is right when you sabotage yourself because your body's like, hold on, this feels new, this feels weird. We got to go back to what we know,
Yep.
and that's what I kept doing until I did the 75 hard, and that's when literally I turned the corner. And
Yes.
Andy was great for that moment and that season in my life. And I think that he's great for some people. For me, his message now is it's great for people, but it doesn't work. It doesn't resonate with me anymore because
Right.
it's more my life is more based on spirituality and faith in God.
Right. Awesome. Well, congratulations, man. That is super,
Yes, sir.
super accomplishment, I tell you.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Um, Last question. If you were to give one piece of advice, Brian, to other men that are starting out on their journey to achieving success, what would that be?
First, make a decision of who it is that you are, what it is that you want, and then be absolutely delusional about going to get it and bypass permission from anyone of if you deserve it.
Right.
Because if you see it and it's yours already, you just got to decide, okay, I'm going to go get it.
And not have those distractions like we talked before.
That's correct.
You know where you want to go. Don't let anybody deter you. Don't let anybody distract you. Okay. Be your person.
Yes, sir.
That is awesome. Brian, I want to thank you so much. Well, it's
It's
been
my
an
pleasure.
absolute pleasure having you on the show. Okay. I want to thank you so much for taking the time to be on. As a reminder to everyone listening, this show is brought to you by the Prime Performance Method, where I help high performing men rebuild energy, strength, and confidence without sacrificing your career. If you feel like you're ready to go be as strong in your body as you are successful in your business, message me, John Fayocavitz, on LinkedIn. Until our next episode, perform strong in all areas of your life.